Hello, everyone. If you're seeing this or if you're listening us from home, this means that you are going to be firstly introduced to the emerging projects financed by the Goethe Institute and European Union under the Culture Moves Europe program, artistic residency partnered by European Theatre and Film Institute in Brussels. And I really, really sincerely wish you all a welcome to K.L.A.R.A's podcast, a platform for emerging voices in arts and film and in other multidisciplinary fields such as performing arts, curation, art exhibition, and more. It's truly an honor to have you all here, and I'm truly grateful for all of your support, for everyone behind the camera, especially. Shout out to Guillermo and Daniela, who are my co producers of this project, and also to Helen, our mentor and friends, that without her, and also without Margarita, who said from Eco Culture, this would not be possible. And I can tell you that each of their words and contribution and time and energy and input is what this podcast is gonna make special, but also possibly worthwhile, but powerful as well. Uh, we are gonna embark on an inspiring journey through its ever evolving worlds of art and cinema. I'm gonna be your host for this entire time, a film producer, but also a multidisciplinary artist and a podcast producer now. So very grateful, and also in this case, your host. We are gonna give a spotlight to emerging artists because we find incredibly valuable that we give a platform, but also an opportunity for new young voices to be emerged in this day and time that is completely different from where our parents, who all of us influenced in a very specific ways, were entering the world of arts and crafts and cinema, but also the new arts and the new contemporary um, artistic expressions that are now also being quite prevalent in this world, where around the globe are pushing the boundaries, breaking norms, and also redefining creativity in unique and powerful ways. And we want to be a platform that will change the conversations, but also that will inspire certain conversations that are important, that are valuable, that are here to educate, but also to spread a word about the things that are being pushed under the rug. And we are not pushing anything under the rug. We are here to address things. We're here to take space. And we are not going anywhere. In each episode, we sit down with rising young emerging artists from diverse artistic backgrounds, whether they're painters, filmmakers, actors, or just multidisciplinary performers or creatives. We dive into their personal stories, exploring their journeys, how they become what they become, triumphs, also their highways, challenges, passions, hopes, dreams, and that drive their work, but also that inspired uh, others' work as well, and continue to do so. From the bustling art scenes of Belgium, Holland, and Luxembourg, which is a focus group of this season as well, to the prestigious stages of international film festivals, arts film festivals, but also prestigious European finance projects such as the interdisciplinary dialogue that is going to be stretched over all of the conversations pretty much in this season. That is an inspiration for this project that is truly inspiring, but also speaks volumes and has inspired the purpose of this podcast, which is to really spread an interdisciplinary dialogue in full words of its sense, but also in full words of its meaning. Um, it's incredibly magical to see my guests sharing insights into their creative process and also taking the time to actually come here and talk to all of you, because for all of you listening us from home and supporting our social media channels, please don't forget that supporting this podcast, you're supporting these artists as well. They're important, they're here, they're young, they deserve a voice, they deserve a platform, and they're navigating the world in a way which a lot of artists are doing as well. And sometimes all you really need is a platform to hear that maybe as a young artist, you're actually not that all on your own. You're actually facing quite similar struggles, whether you're coming from a different discipline. So bear in mind that it's very likely that either you will find yourselves in one of my guests, or you happen to discover something new, or even if you're coming from a completely different background, you find something valuable for yourself, and maybe you even learn that inspires you either in a creative or in non-creative way of thinking, of lines, of projects, whatever. It's gonna work for you. um, we are gonna hear authentic stories, hear first-hand accounts from talented individuals who are making their mark in the arts and in the worlds of cinema, discover how they've overcome those obstacles, embrace their identities as well, and pursue their dreams with tenacity and creativity. But also, we're going to hear some pretty important topics that are often being avoided, but also topics that are difficult, that are heavy, that deserve space, and we need to hear them more. And so be ready for it. And we are going to also hear perspectives that are diverse. They come from various different cultural backgrounds and artistic disciplines, and providing a rich tapestry of experiences and viewpoints that will inspire and broaden your understanding of what it does truly mean to work as a young creative professional, whether you're working in film and television, or if you're working in performing arts, music, theater, either as an arts curator or as a contemporary a curator in a gallery, or if you're working in cinema exhibition, or if you're working in arts exhibition, or if you're working in the technical aspect of theater, musicals, opera. There is something for everyone. So do stick around, because I know that for certain people this might be a weird encounter of different disciplines, but this is why we are here, because we want to bridge that gap, but also to find a way to actually communicate with each other. We will gain valuable insights into inner workings of the arts and film industries, from film festivals to art exhibitions, learn about the challenges and opportunities faced by emerging artists, and also how actually is to work and what are the working conditions like, what are the actual funding opportunities for these people, how they live, what they can expect, and what people who are watching us and listening us from home can expect as well, who can resonate with us and who are also our target audience, but also for people who are not aware of that, who are not aware of the realities of the market and working in this field. Because they forged their paths in a very dynamic field. So it's extremely important that you understand from where it comes from, how is it shaped, and for what reason, and how we can change that for better. And there's also some practical advice, whether you're an inspiring artist, filmmaker, or creative enthusiast. Our episodes are filled with tips, laughter, joy, cry, a lot of emotional stories, but also with actually quite practical recommendations that will help you navigate your own creative journey. The K.L.A.R.A podcast was born out of a desire to celebrate and amplify the voices of those who are just beginning to make waves in their respective industry. And something that I wish to say to everyone is, because we all hear the same conversations, same topics. There is no money, there is no funding. I'm sick and tired of that shit, to be honest. And I really want that this podcast is serves as a sense of hope, but also as a platform that will connect, that will inspire people, that will bring fresh perspectives, also innovative ideas that will enrich other people, but also spark conversations that resonate with audiences and with the artists who are working in our fields as well. By focusing on these individuals, we aim to provide a platform where their stories can be heard, appreciated, not censored, valuable, but also give them a platform that they deserve, because they're entering the stage and I don't think they will leave the stage anytime soon. So, as I mentioned, take notes and get ready. Whether you're here to discover new artists, gain insights to your creative process, or simply enjoy captivating conversations, the K.L.A.R.A podcast is your go-to source for all things art and film and multidisciplinary art forms related, and performing arts most importantly. Each episode promises to inspire, educate, and entertain, leaving you with renewed appreciation for the power of creativity. So grab your headphones, sit back, and join us as we explore the vibrant world of emerging artists and filmmakers, performers, visual artists, cultural workers, anthropologists, working in cultural heritage, whatever you like to call yourself. It's all the names that resonate with each of us, and they're all appreciated and valuable. Welcome to K.L.A.R.A's podcast. I'm so honored and happy to have you here. I'm truly grateful that you took the time of your day to listen to this, where creativity knows no bounds and every story does matter. Hello. Hope you had a safe travel, and it's really exciting to have you here. And welcome to my studio and to the podcast. And it's a pleasure to have you.
It's my pleasure to be here, and thank you for your invitation. Yeah, I love to talk, discuss, argue, critique. So any opportunity to talk, I would appreciate.
Well, let's get into it. I would really like you to kind of introduce yourself and what is it that you do? What is kind of like your artistic background, and just so you, if you can illustrate to our viewers and audiences, like what is it that you actually do?
Okay, can I do also a bit funny, funny quote about me?
Sure,
Okay.
go for it.
Okay, because it's me, about me, I have a some authority.
You have absolutely the
Okay.
whole right.
I am an interesting guy, I think, who has a lot of interest about many things, especially films, also culture, people, yeah. And I have been trying to do films or make films or trying to discover films or some kind of workshop or filming or whatever for a few years of my life. And yeah, continuing this journey by seeing myself now as an independent filmmaker. I don't know what does it mean actually, but I try to understand that how to be more independent and how to liberate the medium from its general constraints. So you can say that I'm a activist of film. I think it's so activist in film. I'm from Bangladesh and I did my engineering before studying film. So in Bangladesh, and then there was no film school then. Then there was a film school, and I enrolled in the film school, Bangladesh Cinema and Television Institute. And yeah, after completing that in fiction and documentary, then I started to getting interested into more documentary. And now I just finished my master's degree studies in documentary. Yeah.
Congratulations on finishing your master's.
Thank you.
Can you walk me through what was kind of like the starting point when, because documentary cinema is really specific, and I've often realized it's something either people love or people hate it. There is not really in between. And I think it is because it's very telling in its medium. It is trying to document what is actually being interpreted by human's eye. But that kind of leads me to, what was it like that you decided that you want to go into that direction? Like, why documentary film?
I think for me, the idea of documentary, the way you just said now, I think it has, perhaps it was, but now it is not actually. Documentary, the way it had happened is dead. And I think I need to put my devotion into it to create a new branch out of it. So I think this is a time where documentary is trying to find a new way out. I would say that transmission period or something with the booming of image, social media, and everyone has the minimum required mobiles or something. You can record, sometimes you can record such thing which really shows the glimpses of beauty of life or any, let's say, political event or something. You can just record your phone and you can have that real thing happening. So but documentary used to have those criteria to capture, record. So now it's liberated. So documentary should find something new to be sustained. So I'm one of the worker who try who how to say, who involved himself by his own choice into that I think there should be new documentary, and there are new documentaries, and there are many new waves that trying to emerge actually. So I'm actually looking for those things in the name of documentary. What kind of practices is happening which wasn't there before, and which is a very modern practice, taking very importance concern about what is the contemporary thing, the world. Like now our chat gpt is becoming our part of the life, and all these facts is also creating a new possibilities to find a new kind of documentary. Generally maybe I belong to that group, yeah, who try to believe in new things.
And how do you envision those new documentaries? Like, what do you think they will look like, or have you already seen something like that happen?
Yes. Without inspiration, I cannot have the courage to go. So there are many. Like I would love. Okay. A few years ago, there was a filmmaker, a very good filmmaker from UK, Ireland, Mark Cousins. He's also a very okay. So he's a academician. I think he wrote books, and so
Wait just a second. Someone is disrupting the sound. And this is going to be a part cut in post.
yeah.
You're just going to have to repeat that,
Yeah, but I
unfortunately.
can. But just with this sound, let me do a fun. Mani Kaulji, a filmmaker, used to say that if something happens while recording, you should not be feel like it is something. It is a random thing. Embrace it.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, maybe an information for the viewers, and maybe it's just like a fun fact.
Yeah.
Mark Cousins, for example, studied
Cousins.
my program, so I'm very
Ooh,
familiar with his work.
wow!
Yes,
I love his work.
he's great.
He's
But
great.
continue what you were
Okay.
saying, please.
So, from Mark Cousin, he made like a story of cinema, an Odyssey. It's an that 15-hour long, 15 episode Channel 4 production. Then he made Children and Film, and another film that I haven't seen the whole maybe, but I've seen a fragments, and which took my breath away. And it's about Dear Grierson. So the film is about writing a letter to Grierson, telling him that, Dear Grierson, you invented the word documentary, and you saw, and in your time there was a lot of important and many documentaries, but there are few documentaries happening here and there. I think you would not know that. So this is a letter from me to you addressing those documentaries, which is really questioning very critical periphery of the very phenomenon of what is documentary. And he showed few documentaries in that film. And the last documentary he introduced in this letter is a documentary made by an Indian great filmmaker Mani Kaul. I just quoted him, and the film called Siddheshwari. Okay, you know about that. Okay, the Siddheshwari.
Of course.
And the way it's shot, it looks like super designed. It looks like, but not designed in a way that we see in fiction film. But it's a very, very special way of treating that film, to capturing, to voice over the different layers of voiceovers, and you are making a film about a real person and a real life and a real thing, but you are using a lot of things to interpret, to make abstraction, to create the mood. So documentary becoming liberating, So the intention is you getting you to the truth, like any religion also actually, or some spiritual. I don't know. But it is leading you towards the truth. But which tools it's taking and which way it is offering to you. That's the very interesting thing. So this kind of documentary, Mani Kaulji, and then later on his student Amit Datta. I'm a very I'm a fan of Amit Datta. He's also an Indian experimental filmmaker, and he has been making documentaries, films like. You cannot say those films are just documentary. That's another thing, because it is trying to break the shell and create a new bubble. and it just don't like to be in fiction bubble. No, I don't. We don't like this word. I think it's a very bad word, fiction. We should change it. So it's not even documentary. It's not even fiction. It's a new film. People, and I quote a academician and a writer, Amrit Gangar. He's from also India. He quoted. He discovered a new form. He new to say name to talk about those films made in India, experimental documentary, and he gave the name Prayoga. So Prayoga cinema. So there are a lot of theories are emerging from there and here, and this is maybe a symbol of a new documentary. But maybe we can talk about the executions and how it becomes a new documentary and what the new things that came here. Maybe we can talk about it later. But Amit Datta, Mani Kaul, Mark Kazin, Amrit Gangar, Cinema Prayoga. All these names, I think, will, if someone get interested, they can search and they will find what I'm trying to say. It's a new kind of documentary.
And would you say that maybe people who you encounter that are coming kind of not necessarily from the same background, but are also, let's just say, hypothetically documentarians, do they agree with you on this kind of point of view?
No, I don't think so.
Why is that?
Because see, just for telling this thing, I don't need to be agree with anyone.
Okay.
And I don't see that people should agree with me. So I don't know. Maybe I think that they will not agree with me that much because maybe I'm putting my word, and in that way it's like getting a bit like he's a person of he's not appreciating the thing. He wants to destroy this thing, but that destroy the tradition. Tradition it. I would love to destroy it actually because I believe in a new immersion can come after this destruction, and this destruction is not a violent act. It's a thoughtful act. So yeah, I think the reason I'm here in the film or documentary or whatever film is to find something that can also input the whole film, the film studies or something. So yeah, so I'm a fisherman trying to catch fishes.
That's very well said, actually. But do you think is that kind of, I guess, approach to your work something that often people question? Would you say that that's the case, or like it makes you feel like you're a better storyteller in some ways?
The better and the storyteller. I don't know about what does it mean because storyteller, like even I think telling is a form of telling. It implies a subjectivity. It implies a objectivity. Implies many other things. I think yeah. Now the world and the information is so fragmented. You don't need to put into a shell to find a story actually. You have a lot of fragments and your mind is creating illusions of stories of these things. So I think the necessity of delivering stories from a filmmaker is lesser than the usual actually. So I think the story is not the thing that I supposed to offer. I think story is the thing will happen in your mind.
Yeah, that's, I would say, for someone who, obviously always kind of loved the essence of what documentary is, and that's kind of, I will proudly say I do agree with those names being mentioned that actually make what it makes, which is probably what most of our colleagues wouldn't say is true. Well, I don't buy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So essentially, I'm kind of curious to, like, I guess, hear from you. Do you think that in that case, what you just mentioned is something that, I guess, makes you feel like you're good at finding those voices you want to hear?
I think I can tell that I am terribly bad of these things actually because I don't see enough. I'm giving enough time, enough meditative mind, which I'm supposed to give actually in this way of things. So I don't think that I am a good. I don't think that I'm good at anything actually. This is the way I see myself. I would love to see myself, and I would love to show people that I'm seeing myself this way, because I would love to also people to encourage, like, see yourself in that way. I don't know about storytelling. I don't know about good or story. I just seriously I don't know, because storytelling for me it's already which had happened. Like it's a preconceived idea. I want to work with no idea to create a new story. Maybe I will end up making a new story. Maybe one day. I don't know. But my thing is experimenting and experimenting. Yeah. Recently, I feel that I will not live for, I will not have a long life. Just I have this funny idea. I thought like I should record instant, make films, and not think about anything. So I don't know that I'm very much interested in to be a storyteller or not. But I believe storytelling is a communication actually. And the communication can only happen if you offer yourself honestly. Maybe there will be something that you don't agree, but that is an honest offering.
Yeah, I think that's very something that I feel like I can personally resonate, but I would say that the word storytelling in itself became a cliche to a lot of people.
True.
So
Me too.
it makes perfect sense why you have this kind of, I guess, maybe not belief, but maybe just experience with that word, as I would rather say, because it is really an experience. Because what you just explained, as soon as you communicate that, it is some kind of experience. But like,
True.
as soon as you mentioned at some point that you feel like that the purpose of storytelling is to hear those voices and to actually more be observant and hear them rather than being in the center of them necessarily. It's something I've noticed in one of your work that I've seen prior to this. It was also in ode to a child in photography, but also in, this is gonna be really funny. I'm in fact allergic to pollen, so as soon as I saw this movie, I was like, oh well, it was meant to be, I guess. So Pollen of the Blowing Trees is, for those who don't know, it's a short documentary that was made under the master's program Doc Nomads. We're gonna touch upon a bit. This is really funny. I feel like sneezing, and as soon as I mention the word pollen, fantastic. Yes, and this short documentary, can you, for those who don't know, can you walk me through what is it about?
Yeah, I try to see, because the film has been made by some kind of energy I was witnessing, just being holding a role as a filmmaker. Actually, my role was in this film just to be another one, just to be a friend of them. Actually, I love them. I love to be with them. This is the first thing that I want to prolong my experience to be with them, and by how can I do that? I can have an excuse of making a film. So that's how film comes afterwards. That what I like, what I want to see, what I'm comfortable with. So it's like my life and my comfortness. It is the thing that I found there with those peoples that I've made films. They are all coming age people, like young people from Almada. They're living the other side of the river. So other side is the Lisbon, big cities, and Almada. There were some factories got abandoned in 80s. There are many people got unemployed, and the next generation got like drunk and a bit demotivated into work, and the next generation is really trying to move around. Those people are my subject. Skaters. So they skate, they do school, they are talking about politics things and many things, many interesting ideas. And I wanted to be with them with my tool and just celebrate the moment We are there with some experimental, like throwing the camera, doing the camera in a 360-degree round, giving the camera to their hand and saying that, like, skate now with the camera. And it was really fun. Now they're also getting very much interested into films. After making this film, after 6 months, when I was in Budapest, I got a message from one of my character from this film that he made a film and he sent me the film. So then I felt like, okay, there was an inspiration, there was an energy was happening that time. From then on, I realized that this film, I didn't make it actually. It happened. I was there to hold it. So I cannot say that what is this film all about, but yeah, the thing I gave you, the generation, intergenerational relationship, those people skates in those areas where the abandoned factories were there, So people are not usually go there, they have space, but sometimes old people are passing there, which you saw in the film. And I want them to interact their past because, and I wanted to just witness, like, okay, if in that space, under that big abandoned factory, skaters and this old man, let's meet them. Let's make an excuse to talk in between them, and I can make an excuse with the film. If I tell my character like, hey, talk to him, and he will not do that. But if I tell that, okay, I will, it's a part of the film. Let's make a film that you and you are going to that person and talking about this factory, because you are also inhabitant neighborhood, living in neighborhood. He's also, and for this excuse of the film, these two person living in the same place, they become known each other for the first time. And I think this thing has been has not been that much developed because of the crisis of that Almada, the area, because there was big factories, and when the factories got stopped, it's a big massacre. The generation, follows or something. I was fascinated by that area, by those old people, by these young people, and I just wanted to be there and take the natural element around and put them into many way and see what happens. So I made a cut before the film I sent you. This was not the final cut, it was the second cut. There was another cut, first cut, which I made completely differently, and one of my teacher told me that, hey, it's looked like it's socialist propaganda. And I felt like, okay, that night I couldn't sleep actually. But after 6 months, I realized that teacher's perspective, because he's from a country, he has some other kind of relationship with communism and socialism, so he cannot stand it. He's from, I think he's from also, he's a Budapest teacher, but he's not from Budapest.
Okay.
But one of, under the Soviet. So for him and for me, for him, and it's the different political context. So if I now quote like the election, that European Union election, only Portugal is the country that I heard that they got like a socialist democratic country maybe in the power. So yeah, and in the France, I read that the Front Popular got the maximum vote, but they couldn't even create the government. I don't know actually. I need to know. But see, so Portugal it's an interesting country. It's you cannot just see Portuguese film about young people talking about politics. It's not just socialist propaganda, but maybe there is something else, and the result shows something. No, but now I think, though the teacher, I love him, but he didn't realize that many things because he was from a context also. And without knowing many things, he broke my heart. And come on, I drank maybe too much that night. And I changed the film.
Was it because of what he said?
Yeah, not because, but I felt so bad actually. Propaganda? Come on. I love popcorns. Not like, no, my whole journey is against of that. But for me, I believe in that kind of socialist, a bit political point of view in a way. But I'm from Bangladesh and things are all, putting all this in your mind, then you can judge me of my political views. And I think it was an experiment with this thing in Portugal with this film. But yeah, Then I changed the film. I put lesser lesser political talk or more skating thing.
So that's why there's a lot of the scenes from the skating park you went towards the end.
Yeah. So I thought like, okay, making it now one person and making him a filmmaker, and they are also interested into film, and they have those cameras, and I encourage them to, yeah, you come as if like you are making a film, you are skating. This could be a story actually. And without having a film excuse, how can you discover the area? What will give you the motivation? And I'm a documentary filmmaker. I want you are my character, to move around this space, because this space is also a character for me. Now, how can I give you the real excuse to do that? Then skating is the first thing, they moves. And camera is the second thing. So camera is the interpretation of my point of view.
Yeah.
But it is not that much interpretation. He has the camera, but he's not used to do every day. But he's not used to, take every day out or something. But for me, he did it. So it's an small interaction, because also I need to put myself. It's a subjective point of view about things. So me with the camera, him is kind of reflecting me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I talked a lot actually.
Well, that's why you're here. Because it's not just myself. Everyone else wants to hear what you have to say. So, of course. But I'm curious to kind of like hear, was it intentional that you gave to your two contributors then the camera and the microphone? Because as they're leaving the factory, one of them is literally holding a boom and like speaking Portuguese, like how they never met this man after, he what started in the factory, if I remember correctly, in 1948, and they never met anyone who is still alive and came out of that factory. So it's interesting. Like, was it an intentional decision, or you were just like, right, okay, camera, I'm filming? No,
it was not. The interaction is the funny thing that okay, this part of the podcast, I would love to say something from Abbas Kiarostami.
sure.
Kiarostami once said in an interview or something maybe, that filmmaker is like a football coach. All the year long you will teach or you will like train them, but when the game will happen in the field, you have to remain outside. You have to stay outside of the field. As a coach, you just watch. When the real game is happening, you cannot do anything. So this is a very interesting thing, You prepare, you have the all preparation done, and then you let it go.
Yeah.
So it was like that. So I wanted these two generations come together with the excuse of film, because this is a model I wanted to actually express. Like, film can make people come close. If you take away every context of that film, you can have this. Okay, camera can help to say good things to people or to get to know people, which you maybe might not know without this. So it was the idea that you will go, and maybe if he agrees, then you guys will talk about what you want to know about this space, because they are from that space. They have natural questions about it. As a director, I choose right people actually. And then I know that this person has this sensitivity, this person has this sensitivity. And there was many people who were skating, but I choose two while going to talk to this old man. The two sensitive person, I choose like maybe these, and I don't know what will happen, what the discussion will happen. But I designed the thing, you and you and you, I will be there, and then we'll see. So yeah, and we waited for 2 hours. There was no one coming, and we were like going there, yeah, and then we found like old man is really coming. And then we went there, we asked the permission, and the permission was like, they will talk with you or something. And old man loves to talk like.
I remember my teacher, in case anyone from my uni is going to be watching, they will know who I'm talking about. She was my supervisor for my documentary dissertation, and her name is Kate Smith. Very nice lady. And one of the few things that she mentioned when we were looking for contributors was all people are the best. They have all the time of the day. They can talk. They have the experience of a lifetime, and they can talk whenever and for the longest time you want. So you will get probably the best for your film out of them in some way. So I think I see why you kind of... Was that something that you maybe had in mind once you approached it, or you just...
No, actually.
No?
My mind remains, I try to evacuate my mind out of thought while doing things. Like, just, you know, just to touch this and take and, yeah, put it here. Yeah, I love to do these things actually without thinking, being a bit mindful, but I don't know. So, and I started this kind of spiritual practice because of the shooting experiences, like filming experiences that I got, and I felt, wow, this is something. This is a powerful thing is happening before your camera, and you don't know what it is. Wow, I was amazed by the idea when I first got to encounter with the idea from Tarkovsky that the cinema is a temporal medium. Cinema is a medium of time. So it's a very big thing for me, and it took like about few years, 5-7 years, to just completely, not completely, but partially understand. Now I understood a bit, but it was mesmerizing. The way completely changed the whole way of thinking, making, writing, editing, everything in film. It changes the whole thing. The temporal idea changes the whole thing, because mostly the film relies on the visual medium as a visual medium, and temporal medium is just against it. It's not visual at all. Perhaps it was maybe before Second World War or something, but after Second World War, if I quote two great filmmakers again, Yoshizuru Ozu from Japan and Robert Bresson from France. If you see those films after 40s and 50s, 60s, their character is just sitting, so the camera is there, and you cannot even see their faces. You just, there is nothing happening, but just the boredom of time, a progression of time is offered by this thing. Less movement is a more feeling of time. So yeah. So, and Bresso, and they gave a lot of importance to the voice, the texture of the voice. I heard that Vesu used to select his character not to seeing them in front of him, but to listen them in a form. So people used to call Bresso, and yeah, and then he selected his character from the voice. See, so, and now you can say, like, what he's doing is like, because he don't believe in this is a visual medium, and it's powerful. It's powerful, and just to, sorry, I'm maybe these kind of things I'm so interested into that I cannot just stop myself. So sometimes you stop me if...
No, okay. Please, because this is something that I find it super interesting. It's almost like Bresson, because I watched his film Pickpocket. And it's really interesting how, kind of to connect it also with a bit of the disciplines from performance, he has a lot of these, performative kind of shots that give away a little bit almost like pre-theater time. He wants to display, although he's very much, which is a very weird interpretation now that I look back, because it's a film, for those who haven't seen, literally about, like, if I remember correctly, about a guy who is stealing, in a small town in France. But what makes it interesting, how he does it, is it feels like it's timeless, but it's very much about the time that is happening during that period, whereas maybe Godard or François Truffaut, they would do maybe films that are, yeah, they are relevant to its time, but you wouldn't be able to really place them super fit quickly. It's not easily telling. And what I find it super interesting in that whole kind of, I guess, concept is how all of the people that you mentioned, they all kind of, if you've heard their voice alone, what Bresson was just doing, you would notice that their heartbeat, it's or almost kind of like the heartbeat, but also the tonality are almost the same, because that's only what they do. But also, I'm actually curious. Then, what you just said right now, do you think that then Bresson almost kind of invented maybe dubbing even, or like the voice acting almost? It's almost like really interesting, I guess, interpretation. I mean, it goes back and beyond, but he's one of the first few who did this.
Yeah.
And that's hugely important for whatever medium you do. I would say in documentary, like the most crucial part. What do you think?
It's a very interesting questions actually. Yeah. So for me, Bresson, he invented a kind of automatism. He invented or introduced in the film, like the idea of automatism. It's like, let's say, while you are, let's say I'm a character and this is the glass and my scene is to take the glass, sip it and then put it down. Bresson would do it with 40 times, 40 takes, and he will take one. Very interesting. Why? And why he's doing this normal thing 40 times? Because the idea of Bresson, I think it's a bit philosophical and spiritual. It's like, when you make a film as a director and you need people and you need to give them idea, thought into certain thing. Mostly the actor, you have to have a motivation. You have to know that maybe you are doing something to him or them or in the situation. Bresson felt it shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that. Actors or like the persons, it's not even actors, models for him. Models should not give any intention. Their mind should be free. I should not impose any thought for the sake of this making this shot, like making this cinema. No. I cannot propose him any thought because it is who will take care of this karma effect of this thought. So Bresson would do that, like by doing it, it will create your mind is not thinking now. At one moment, you are not thinking. And this kind of action is like so important, and Bresson will not give you the script. So maybe the character will throw it and you kill someone. But with this action, he will never tell this thing that it will be used for that. Because if you put the meaning in the execution, then there is no fun to creating the meaning. If you are putting the meaning here, like, okay, I'll take this like that. Come on. So for Bresson, he would take 40 takes and choose one where he would find some accident happened. That the idea he had or direction he gave, there is something happened out of it, out of the box. And he would appreciate that. Why? Because now comes anti-visual idea. Because the visual is limited in a kind of frame size. There is something happening also outside the frame. Sound applies those things as a visual, as a space-oriented idea, perspective in our mind. But interestingly, so this is my, okay, let's see. You are my character and this is my space, this is my frame. You and this is all the element I decorated, I designed, right? But are you connected to the whole universe right now? Just by sitting here, are you or you are not? I think you are connected to the whole universe. The air is moving here, is connected to the whole universe. The humidity we are feeling today inside of this house is connected to the whole atmosphere. So the thing is happening in front of me in terms of visual is not only reality. The thing is connected to this. I think like this is my design. Come on, this is my propose. This is not my design. This is my propose to whom? To the eternity, to the eternal visual manifestation. And they are connected by temporality. Like, let's say, balloon.
Yes.
Okay. Let's say I have 2, 3 balloon, different colors. So we blow it up and in different size, maybe one these and what that and that. For me, each balloon is a shot. And the color is like the visual identification of that shot. Let's say red shot, blue shot, yellow shot. But the size of the balloons is also different. It's not just red. So red balloon can be smaller red balloon. Yellow balloon can be bigger yellow balloon. Yellow balloon can be smaller yellow balloon. The size is also matters. Because inside the balloon, the air is the time. You see the balloon because of the time. You see the balloon, different visual because of the different time pressure inside. You see a river and a boat. I'm from Bangladesh, so river and boat is so, I like those element to give my example. So you see boat is traveling on the river, and you see the boat, but you cannot see the underneath of the river, the pressure of the water. But you see it's there, it's floating. So you can tell that the boat is the visual, is the thing you see, but you see because of time, because of the time pressure, the water. So if you consider the visual for making a film, you would be ended up, I don't know where, but if you consider the major element for the film as a temporality, like how long this shot should be, rather than what would be the action of this shot. If you ask your mind this question, additionally, it will create a revolution in your mind while thinking, writing, making, and perceiving cinema, I would say. Because Manikal once told that, I'm just sorry. Manikal once said that there was a Ziga Vertov experiment in Russia. Yeah. So hidden camera and then direct cinema in Europe. So, but Manikal really said one interesting thing that you can capture essence of a character or something without being aware of him or her. But it's not true actually. If you tell someone, then hey, I want to record you, and then what will be the problem for the filmmaker? She or he will be aware of it. Let it be.
Yeah.
Let it be. The awareness also reflects, or awareness also manifests, or awareness also gives a glimpse of an interest in you which is maybe hidden, which I'll never got to study. So those things, those direct cinema and then observational cinema, I think they become a very interesting study material, and people love to study to control, and every study is connected to the politics. I don't know. So the temporality, I'm now a bit at lost. Okay, let's say every shot has a time. Manikol once gave an example: an empty glass, an empty table, and the camera is static. Nothing is happening. But one thing is happening: it's time.
Yeah.
And in every shot, it has its own position, the time. So the feeling of time, let's say just the time. Cut, and then I just put your shot. Cut, and then here again, there will be a relation between these two. Not with just the montage theory, not with that duration. Maybe I'll put here more and I'll put lesser you. So I'll put lesser, but I'll put more. But lesser, more. So with the time progression, you are narrating actually.
Yeah.
So as a narrative fact, temporality, time is a medium. But if we consider cinema as a visual medium, we will completely stop that part of our way of thinking. So Bresso, maybe he knew all these things. And he was also, let's say, for Bresso, a man cannot be delivered by any direction that can manipulate his mind. For Bresso, he gave everyday payment. He treated the actor as a model, and it's like a painting model. So you are model. You are giving your essence here, and that essence is important. You don't need to be a character, because if you want to be a character, then what is the meaning of film? Film will give you the character. You will not adapt the character, because it's a kind of medium of theater who implies imagination. The stage is the imaginary stage. So I can be there and I can tell that, hey, I'm the uh, I'm the hero of 1924. I was a pirates by then. Let's say in the theater, you will believe it, because the space is supposed to apply imagination. So that's why you have to imagine a self, that I am Debashis, but I'm now becoming a character and showing my performance. In cinema, it is not that. Because in cinema, at the end, there is no human being, there is no flesh and blood. It's just image and media image. It's like an idea, it's like illusion. For theater, the real person is important. You can sense the real essence of the body. You can sense it. And they apply imagination on the body, real body. For film, you have to have concrete thing. You cannot have anything with imagination, because you will create the imagination.
Yeah.
You will create the imagination without putting those two things, which has been kept completely in Bresso, the way he mechanized the dialogues or something, because he take out the expression of it. Because the expression is the input. Let's say I'm saying to you that, Klara, I really miss you. And I can tell it in many ways, But for Bresso, he will tell that I miss you. He will not put any emotion to it. If you put emotions, then you are coloring it. If you are coloring it, you are imagining it. You are putting a particular way of looking at this line to the people. But Bresso would love to offer you open thing. You are the audience, being active, put your own color into that and make it your own, and you will appreciate them more.
Wow. I think it's a really interesting way of perceiving Bresson's work.
Yeah.
But it's also really interesting approach how other people can also take that on board further, because I guess in all the film schools, and maybe that's something that I wanted to actually ask you, like, do you think that all of this that you just said is like I wouldn't call it really a byproduct, but do you think that the way how you just describe how you interpret this and how Bresson actually interpret this is something that is encouraged to think in, maybe it wasn't encouraged in your program, or was this something that you really had to kind of justify why? Because for certain people this can sound extreme. For myself, not really, but I bet that there are certain people thinking, what the hell, So how do you feel about like your professors? Like, did they ever kind of supported this idea that Bresson was encouraging, or is something that is not really good necessarily to think, and they really want to kind of censor that? Like, what's that environment like?
From my experience, if I want to tell about the specific Bresso or this temporal idea, I started to study about this thing while I was in Bangladesh. So here I studied a documentary, so there is no enough room for Bresso and this kind of. So
Okay.
I haven't talked to this thing actually to anyone that much. Yeah.
Okay.
But this is a personal interest, and I have a good number of friends in Bangladesh, India here. They believe me, I believe them. So I share this kind of idea in this kind of situation actually. So I have a very good relationship with my professors with many other reasons, but particularly this thing, no, maybe this is not encouraged by the school, but I would say encouraged by the films I've seen and the life I am in. Maybe I'd love to see my feeling, my love, process it. So through these concern, maybe I was interested into philosophy and film. So that make me to ask, think, and ask certain fundamental questions like visual medium, camera stuff, these, that. So yeah, so I think it's encouraged by everyone because I exist because of the others. So in that way, but about school, I felt I met very knowledgeable and inspiring professors, I must say. But about this particular thing, I haven't talked to them. But yeah, Manjere Hassan Murad is one of the great teacher of my life. He introduced me into experimental cinema and he showed me Jonas Mekas and changed my life. He showed me Sergei Parajanov and changed my life. He showed me Electron I Love and changed my life. So yeah, he showed the experiment. He was like the teacher, documentary teacher actually. He opened my mind into documentary as a new medium, not just documentary as a existing medium. So Manjir Asim Murad is one of those professors from Bangladesh, Bangladesh Cinema and Television Institute that time. Now he is running his own film school, documentary-based film school. Maybe I will go and join him. Whatever, I'll go back. And there are professors, yes. Miguel, he taught us Portuguese cinema identity. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from him. A lot about colonialism, Portuguese society, Manuel de Oliveira. I love this filmmaker. Pedro Costa. And then there was in Hungary also there was many interesting film teachers. I forgot one of the professor, but I'd love to say that the exercise we did, he gave us. It was like compare your national anthem, the country you belong, with the Hungarian national anthem. And write an essay about it. Wow, it's a problematic thing, but it could be, I don't know, but wow, I learned a lot actually. I learned a lot because then afterwards I was reading the whole class actually. Few friends of mine, they are from many different countries. And how you see your country, it's not about just see, how you present in a foreign country about your country and so it's a different layer of going through it. Like, okay, how you justify the idea of national anthem. How do you see with the idea of national anthem with all these years? Now 2024, maybe this all came at one point of the independence and these things. So do we need any necessary modification of the national anthem? So these kind of questions certainly arised because of this study. What do you say?
Exercise.
Exercise or assignments. Yeah, interesting. And in Brussels, about teachers that I have to mention Pascal, who taught us the contemporary documentary. I really loved his way of teaching, and personally, yeah. And Lynn, who who taught us like the Belgian cinema and identity and culture. And two filmmakers' name I have to say now that I got to know because of her. One is Francis Alice. Is a independent filmmaker, video artist, and yeah, I got like, yeah, blow my mind. The idea, one of his films, small 2 minutes film, is like he's taking one basket of water from one sea, like let's say Black Sea or something, from another continent, and he will just throw this water to another sea, like let's say another continent, like another sea. So one sea water going to another sea, just 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I thought like, wow.
You know what's really interesting? Some of my other guests are going to be featured on this podcast. We were part of the ID project that, in fact, featured a documentary that was done by all our three mentors. Margarita, that you met previously, Helene and Luisa, who immigrated from Uzbekistan,
Mhm.
and they made a documentary, in fact, that is called the Letter to the Aral Sea, and they did exactly what you just described, and what Frances did. Yeah, so the three of them,
Mhm.
they were traveling and they had a tour around Europe because they wanted to show what is left still in the Aral Sea, the water. And that's kind of, it's interesting connection that you just made, because it feels like, correct me if I'm wrong, because I never really lived in Belgium, but this is my 4th time nearly here, so I feel quite at home. And you have been living here for a certain amount of period. It feels like, maybe, I don't know if you think this, almost as artists bring their own water here and pour it and being like, now we're becoming as part of the sea. It's almost like this kind of analogy, because they're like, here you go.
Interesting.
You can see it.
Mm-hmm.
You can try it. And you can put it on yourself if you also want it as well. And you can see the consequences it makes. So it's really, really interesting what you just mentioned, because they did exactly the same thing nearly 30 years ago. And it's because of that, it was just simply for them a getaway to come here. I don't know. We can talk about this after, because this is a whole separate story.
It's a whole new thing.
Yes, but what you just mentioned kind of, I couldn't help it but like connect to that. But walk me through your time in Brussels. How that you mentioned, like, because maybe, I don't know if that's kind of like the right way to say it, but like, do you feel, actually, I remember now that I look back from our conversations, you told me that Brussels felt like the most home out of all places. Why?
So, yeah, because I met people here. I have friends, important friends. I share my interesting idea with my friends that I am feeling, and I'm meeting new people. And there are a lot of artists. I love music. I've met musicians. And I also, the most thing is like last 100 and few days, 30 or something, that I've been into a film exercise, that everyday one diary cinema. So because of that, maybe I recorded Brussels a lot.
Okay.
Not a lot, but yeah, I just made 125 haikus, videos, or whatever, diary cinema, whatever. So, and I was mostly in Brussels, in France, in some other places, and I also took the archival footages that I have from India, Bangladesh, other cities of the Europe. So yeah, because of these, maybe I'm getting a bit attached to this city, because with this ongoing project, I collaborated with artists, few here and there. I shared my ideas. I have beautiful roommates. We talked, and we talked many things. Like, he's a socialist, and he's also doing a radio show in Marseille about socialist and socialist way of looking at things. Rap music. He gave his first lecture about socialist way of looking at rap music in France.
Was that your friend who gave?
Yeah. He's my friend. He's becoming my friend. He's my flatmate, actually.
Oh.
He's a French guy. He's a Belgian guy, and yeah. So that's why maybe I feel I cried a lot in this city. I felt a lot of joy in this city.
Okay. And I'm curious, like, how did you met all of these artists, like, and these people, like, what was that process like? Because from what I've understood, you are literally dog nomads in its full name, shape, or form. Like, and you yourself literally mentioned several times that you want to be the traveling filmmaker. Was that kind of analogy something that inspired you to look even further from what the program maybe suggests you to do to
Mhm.
kind of create a sense of home for yourself
Mhm.
by finding these kind of people? Like, how did you ended up finding them? I'm actually super curious.
Interesting that traveling filmmakers. I would say that floating filmmakers. So, yeah,
Okay.
from the river, Bangladesh, floating filmmaker.
Makes sense.
And I think film is a medium to get you feel that floating life, to have to explore the floating life. And floating life is a practical philosophical way of living for me with certain things. So yeah, I'm interested into that life, which is not stuck with any particular idea or space or people or maybe these things. But I really liked your questions. But can you just give me a bit? What was the beginning of the thing that I had something to tell you, but I just forgot now?
I don't remember. I did remember asking you
Mm-hmm.
that I was curious, how did you ended up meeting all of those
Okay,
artists?
yes, interesting. So, Boris
know.
Lemon.
So tell me about Boris Lemon.
When I just came Brussels, first thing I did, I called him,
Okay.
and he was in Spain. And before that, actually, we had already a conversation because I used to write him in his email, and I wrote him like in Bengali.
Ah, okay.
Because I love to make this fun. He's Boris Lemon. I cannot just write, English and Francais. I love to write my language, and it's Boris' duty to translate it and not to get all of it. That's the fun of it. And he got it, and he giving me messages in French. So we had those emails in our archives. So then I met him, and it was also a kind of parallel film school for me because I met him few times with my friends. I helped him to shift. There was a lot of film cans and film stuff that he has to move from Cinematheque to his house, and from his house to Portugal because he has to send those things. There was a retrospectives going on, and he needed hands, and I offer mine. Like, I'd love to help you. With this excuse that I got to see him more, and we spent a very interesting time. We ate in the Lebanese restaurant few times. Yeah. So Boris Lemon is one of the person who gave me another idea. Like, cinema can be that liberated.
Yeah.
Francis Allies, Boris Lemon. So they're all keeping in all these names. Actually, I want to go back in the first discussions round, a new documentary. So if someone listening this podcast or our discussions, they can apply all these names into that one direction. I hope they will find something. Yeah.
Well, that's why we're here to offer, to give our honest kind of like, I guess, takeaway on things. And it's up to our listeners and viewers to hear what they want to hear,
True.
Uh, my kind of job and your kind of like, I guess, not necessarily work, but I hope your desires to give to people like an insight what I guess like a kind of like a set of things what they can take away and how they can interpret them. I guess what I'm kind of curious to hear, since Brussels has become a character for you, what is your favorite thing about Brussels?
Wow. 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 How to answer it?
Whatever comes to your mind. It doesn't have to be, what I think it's a very, as you also phrased it before, it's a very subjective thing to have. And because a great example can be named as two people live in the same neighborhood and one of them loves every inch of that neighborhood. True. And truly cannot get enough of where he lives. Although there is few moments where he thinks, oh, this is shit, it's raining again, But then there is a person who cannot get away from that shithole. He's pissed off. He, I think I would say maybe Brussels can be a change of perspective.
True.
I don't know if you agree with that.
I am partially. True.
Partially.
Yeah,
That's a good way to phrase it.
Same phone. Yeah. Okay, 70%. And ongoing, maybe it could be higher than that. So there was one place, I don't know what is it called, because I'm a bit dangerously knowledgeable about maps.
Okay.
I don't know things, like I would love to be lost all the time, not to know which road is the right way, but to go there, you feel some person and you.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, at one night, I found a small alley and I found a box. Really interesting. And in Brussels, there are a lot of things donaire. You can take it from the.
Yeah.
And that time I was like looking for something to hang in my wall or something. Not looking for. If I find it, I will take it. It was my mindset. And I thought like, okay, maybe it could be painting or something because it was an interesting big box. And I opened it. And there was one small paper written.
Okay.
Yeah. Give your mind and take the soul back.
Is that what it said?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And I followed the line.
Can you repeat, please?
Give your mind, just give it up here.
Okay.
And take your soul back.
I will leave it at there. Okay.
Okay, but that place.
Yes.
And that thing is a very interesting thing in Brussels for me. And I loved the wind in Portugal. And I think that wind completely transformed into human being in Brussels.
That's actually a perfect way of phrasing it. Yeah, that's the perfect way of describing the wind in Brussels and in the country in itself.
Mm-hmm. I like the people in Brussels.
Mm.
And I like the stories. Whatever.
Do you think that that's kind of what inspired your, I guess, like, multidisciplinary approach to work as well?
Mm-hmm.
Like that time in Brussels specifically? Because I feel like when we were talking, you were telling me that obviously each place brought different thing. While you were living in Budapest, it was very much about, if I call you correctly, about exploration, and more about finding out who these people are, that what Budapest is made of, basically. Whereas in Portugal, you were telling me that it was quite I'm not sure intense, but wild. I would say.
Rawness.
Yes. And that's very, I guess what I wanted to kind of like ask you, do you feel like, besides myself, do you think that other people will see that through your work as well?
Yeah, that's interesting thing actually. The friends, I always made films for friends.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the primary concern. And this is a primary self, a primary concern. And then when I belong to an identity of a social being, of a political being, then there is. But firstly, my primary concern is my friends. So a lot of friends had always a different kind of expression about my film. Because it is so open in terms of giving you a particular thing.
Yes.
So it offers you a lot of reflectory thing from your own. So people have their own reflections. Sometimes people don't see that there is nothing to read or nothing to see. After 5 years, those people coming back and say like, wow, now I see something else.
Yeah.
And I said like, I'm that same stupid. I didn't change at all. My film is same stupid film. So yeah, people, I think I made a film, Selection of Symphony, in 2014, and no one liked that film. And it was like one of my, I would say, smartest film of that time. Like I put my everything into that.
Yeah.
In a way, and no one liked it. No one means like most of the people didn't like it. Then I showed it in one of the national festival, and then I just told, okay, okay, the end of this film's journey is here. After 5-7 years, people are emerging from nowhere and talking about this film. Like, not a lot of people, few people. And they connect with me. And they say that, wow, I really like that film. Now I see, after 7 years, maybe this film audience, like in the university, I'm talking about only university zone now. From the university, it is like more often than the time I was in the university.
Yeah.
So yeah, now I see the thing is like I have to do things and it will have its own audience in its own time. It's not maybe at a time, it's over the time.
Yeah.
It could be like that. But people always giving me, supporting me. My friends always supporting me, making films about money, about things, everything. I would not do films if I didn't have friends like Shukanto Pappu is my childhood friend. We used to make our first few films, 5 films in DV cam actually, mini DV cam in 2009.
Wow.
And he gave a lot of money, stealing from his father's pocket, So, yeah. And he was the producer, even though without knowing what is producer. I didn't know that, what is producer. But I knew that, okay, there should be a producer. You are the producer. Give me some money. I will give you money. I will also input my money and we'll make the film. And yeah.
So he knew about the role way before its time.
Yeah, could be.
Kind of.
Yeah. We did some crazy thing actually.
Can the audience know what kind of crazy things you guys did?
One day I was like 17 and I went to the camera house and I just asked for renting a camera and they were like, okay. So, and they robbed me in a way. Like the camera rent was like, let's say 5K, but they are charging me 7K and I was desperate.
Yeah.
And I took it. And so one day, camera will come from Dhaka to Gazipur. There is like 2 hours of journey. And we'll have only 12 hours because we don't have any light setup.
Yeah.
So only 12 hours. We have to shoot the whole film. And then, the mini DV cam should be transformed in a telecine device into digital media. And then you have to there was no hard disk that much. So you have to take blank disk and write that blank disk.
Oh,
so if it is two hours of recording, the blank disk would be 8 or 9 or 10. And there will be 2 or 3 will be blank disk would not work.
Okay.
So is the process we went through that time. And I think I learned a lot of patience. Just sitting. Because, yeah, I think life taught me all these things actually. And really helping me to get prepared for film and new film and next film.
Now that you mentioned that life prepared you for all these experiences, how do you then approach for people for collaborating then with you, like other artists or creatives? Like how does that look like?
I can tell you a story.
Yes, please.
Okay. So as I'm making this diary cinema,
yeah,
everyday one's film somehow in my YouTube. So if I remember, it's 15 April film. Yeah. So while I'm making this film, it was a film I wanted to make about a film when I was visiting Shantiniketan, a very special place, Vishwabharati University, Rabindranath Tagore, like the big poet. He invented a new school of art. And this is one of the Thobian universities in India, West Bengal. So I visited there. There was beautiful nature-oriented places. I was with friends. I wanted to make a film about those recordings that I had. But those days I was listening a improv original singer. Her name is Freya. She is from Vienna. Maybe also because I checked the writing of her song, so it's also German. So I think she's from Germany, but she may be studying in Vienna. And in her YouTube channel, she is doing like a lot of improvisations. Like he just takes a guitar and just sings. And I think like similar to the Francis Alais and the Boris Lehman, I found like she's liberating somehow. She has the quality of liberation. of art. And then I wanted to collab with her music and collab with in my diary cinema. And then I thought like I can ask, I can find her Instagram ID or those things, but I
Yeah.
didn't choose those. I made the film with her song. I made it, and in the film I wrote her like I shot like my computer is in my computer the song is going on, and I'm just taking my handycam and take the shot of my computer and the song is going on, and I put my subtitle that hey Freya, I want to reach you through this film. I want to collab. If you are not agreeing with this, I will not publish this film, but it's my yeah, offering to collab with you. I'm really interested about your song. And then she saw it. And then she got like, yeah, why not? It's a super thing. After that, we started collaborating with her music and my diary cinema.
Where
It's like
else can people see her music and your work?
In her YouTube channel. And everything is, I took everything from the YouTube channel downloaded. Yeah, and I believe in this practice, I believe like there should not be a perfect recording. There should be a not perfect recording.
Not even for this podcast.
If it is a podcast, it should be perfect. But if it is a film, it should not be. Because film will give you the perfectness. Every element should be imperfect. So that is something very interesting about cinema, music in film. You will listen those music without the context of the scene, that you will feel maybe in some music, you will feel there is incompleteness. You know, when you fall in love, I think the incompleteness of you, that you are aware of your incompleteness, that makes you prepare to be in love.
Yeah, that's so true.
So the music is looking for love. The visual is looking for love. The audio is looking for love. And you are giving them a beautiful path to make love.
Huh. Well, only thing I can say, our listeners should take notes on that. I'm gonna leave it in there. But I guess kind of like what I've wanted to kind of like maybe discuss a bit more. I'm sure that although that you managed to do some pretty inspiring creative work, how do you overcome creative blocks in periods of low inspiration? How does that look like?
I think before I felt that it is a linear line that you can cross it and it will never come back.
Yes.
But now I think it's a circular line. Things are coming back. The same way, in the same. So it is like, so for me, this blocking and these things are always there, always coming back. It's like I successfully, how to say, just transmitted one, then I faced another one, then another one. So I'm in the constant, this confusion actually, or this like what should or what is. But I just felt one thing, that I cannot stop making while being confused. I can also state my confusing state as a mindset and make films out of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the one thing I open my window, that no matter what, I should be able to make film. Always, all the time. If I do it, I do it. I don't do it, I'll not think of it. But I have to have the possibility of it.
So it's more about the action and less about the thought of it.
Yeah. So one possible action you can do, your own film, personal cinema, first-person film. I'm very interested into those zone, diary cinema. So if I have one window open always that I can make, so I think it helps me to deal with other blocking. But if I don't have one at one point, maybe I will end up suicide. I don't know actually. I don't know. This one window is really saving me in many ways. Like that, I'm constantly inputting my energy into films. Whatever it is, it is. I don't care, because I think that how you should care.
Yes.
Not care.
Yeah, that's I mean, I'm very much into kind of like, I when you said that you're quite spiritual, I feel like what often can be misinterpreted, that especially I think in creative space, landscape, industry, whatever, and whoever feels comfortable calling it in what name. A lot of people judge, I would say, or don't really have a good support system when it comes to when you say that you believe you have a certain beliefs into things, in the sense that what as soon as you say, oh, I believe in, I don't know, Neville Goddard, or even Abraham Hicks, or any kind of, let's say, teacher or mentor. I don't like to say a life coach, because to certain people it's not necessarily triggering, but it doesn't really do the service of what they actually say. It's more about literally what you just said. It's more about the action of doing it, and less about the thoughts, and just like that detachment from the emotion. What you were also saying, and Bresson was saying, it's more about capturing it in your way, how you see it, and then poof, whatever happens happens. As we're approaching the end of this episode, which is kind of a sad part, because I really enjoy having conversations with you, and I want to have many more. That's why I'm looking forward to our collaboration in Serbia, which we're going to talk about in the next episode you're going to be on. So we're going to be able to reflect and talk more about that journey. I'm curious to hear from your perspective, obviously, this whole time, but this is really solely from yours. What How did your relationship with art started, and what does it mean to you today?
God bless you. Bless you again.
Okay. Should I repeat the question?
Should I repeat the question?
I think you just need us there at the right time. Let's repeat the question once again.
Okay. As we're approaching the end of the episode, next we will hear about your collaboration in Serbia. Actually, our collaboration in Serbia as a producer and director. I'm curious to hear, now that we are talking about the art of cinema, and in general terms, what does art mean to people and how it's being interpreted in the real life. When did your relationship with art started, and why this calling? Why art? Why documentary film? What does it mean to you today?
I think art was a part daily life, a part of daily life in our family, actually, in a way. Like music, a bit of music. My mother used to sing every day 2 times for while she's praying. So music, and we have a lot of iconograph in our walls, like those deities, and so big faces, iconograph, and small sculpture. So I was brought up with those things in my house. So yeah, the sensation came from many things, actually. But one thing I really want to pointing out, as if this is a very interesting point to get into films, actually, for me, because my uncle used to live in Australia, and 2004 I lost my sister, and he came back in Bangladesh for visiting us, and for the first time he took a handycam for me. And it was like that time it was 2004. The handycam was not recorded in memory card, so it was like the disc. And the first time, before that, I used to use still photographs for when I was in class 2, I was a family photographer. So, I was in class 9 in 2004. I got first handycam, and I felt like the world is unfolding itself before the frame. and I was mesmerized by this feeling. And I was also traumatic because I just lost my sister. So with the camera, I really processed my pain and some things into it. And rather than being painful, I was getting more. Mm, I was not happy, but I was mesmerized by the fact is happening in front of my camera, and the joy and the celebration, and not just that, just meditation also through recording camera, holding camera and watching through it. Sometimes losing the files, sometimes losing hard disks makes you really understand what does it mean.
Yeah.
Losing a lot of files, losing things. So all these things maybe happened to me in such a way that I ended up being here. But that those 2004, after my sister died, I see this thing, my sister become my cinema.
Wow. That's
Mhm.
amazing. And after that, how do you now see that being shaped by your sister becoming cinema as a is that your most driving force?
The driving force could be situation. The driving force could be the questions you're asking in terms of understanding life, politics. For example, right now in my country, there is a protest, student protest is going on. And it is taking there are a lot of violence is happening within the last few days, and the internet is shut down. I couldn't even contact with anyone, and being so far away, you don't know the context, you don't know the thing is what is happening, and there is another kind of anxieties. I'm just getting out of it because I'm not there. If I could be there, I could take my camera, I could perform my thing, I could go and be an activist, I could do something, But here I think that I need to do some other kind of thing for this life, and I have to meet these, that. At the same time, my country is burning. The government is killing students, and I want to stand with them. And I cannot now in that way, maybe if I were in Bangladesh. So situation actually made sometimes to take your necessary steps, like in the discipline of your artwork or something. And I believe someone and my friends and people from Bangladesh, they are really now facing this situation, and there will be films for sure that came out of this conflict and out of this protest.
So what gives you some kind of positivity in all of that at the end of the day?
See, once Buddha said that life is painful, this is the first truth, the primary truth. I think cinema is helping me to understand the truth that life is painful, and also accepting and also going beyond of this painful state or something.
Yes.
So I think, I don't know, but I want to cleanse my mind of. I want to be a new human being actually, and I felt that art or cinema is helping me to get there, not get there or get out of something which I had as a shell maybe. So I'm getting too close to know me by this process actually.
And that's amazing. And you should be very proud of yourself because of that.
I am happy. I'm not sure about proud.
Well, I think you should be, because many people are still searching for that. And even if they do find it, they don't want to embrace it. And you should applaud it for it, because not many people would. They still
True.
practically run away from it. And on that note, I want to sincerely thank you for coming and for being my very first guest in this project. And I am looking forward to many conversations, and thank you for watching this and supporting us. And please, please, please do check this man's work. See you in a different episode. Ciao.